volume on because I don't have the volume on. Good morning, everybody. So let's wait for everybody to funnel in here, and then we'll start. Yeah, I'm going to need some more coffee here, Cameron. I already didn't have the sound on, so we're definitely going to need a little more coffee here today. I see that coming already. Let's just talk about today. Most people take today off. I don't really take days off. I've made up my bet a long time ago that I'm a trader and I love doing it. So it is what it is. What I would just simply suggest is that understand that today's a pretty volatile day. In regards to the fact that your first half hour of the day is going to rally, right? That's usually what you do. I can only speak from experience. Okay. And I'm sending this link out while we're talking. I'm behind. So what you want to do is you want to focus on the first half hour. And if your stock's bid up and you don't want to be in them, okay, then what you want to do is simply focus on a couple things. And one of the things that you want to focus on more than anything is that if your stocks get out, if you're like they trade up and you don't want to be in them for next year, just get out now, because during the day you're going to sell down. It's inevitable. It's that kind of day. And then you're not going to see any volume until the end of the day. So if you're looking short term, that's how to trade today. Okay. And let's go over, let's start taking questions, but I just want to point this out really quickly, a couple areas. The first thing is you're going to have to just watch this 747 line today or 474 level. Might be time to get more coffee right now, actually. The cues, you're going to have to watch the same level. I mean, you're just on these support levels. Okay. I want to point this out ahead of time so that we're all on the same page. Tesla did not break down. Okay. It's actually setting up a bullish hook reversal. Okay. Now what this does this morning, who knows? I think we're trading up now. We were just trading down. Yeah. Now all of a sudden we're up. So, it's going to be that kind of day where you're going to be like, you're going to feel a little schizophrenic. And what you do is you have to sell into the strength and then look at buying back if you're not willing to ride the bumps. So just keep that in mind as we trade today. It can be a very frustrating day for people, to say the least. I've watched people get very frustrated with these kinds of days. So let's just jump right into it. And I expect today to be, not as many people. I do want to say this. I love doing this. I purposely have gotten rid of the commercials. So there's no commercials. I found that I could do that. There's no commercials in the front. There's no commercials in the back. So if by subscribing to this and I get more influence and get more people, we get better ideas. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Every time you come in, please hit the like button and comment. It helps with the algorithms to get us in front of more people. The more people, the more ideas. And it gives me the opportunity to actually get in front of other people that, I otherwise could not. So I do appreciate it. So let's just talk about what we have in the chat already. Would love Tinder GOTU. Let's take a look at that. Morning Oven. Great idea yesterday, by the way, on walking through more trades. I really thought about that last night and how to do it and the best way to do it. I don't know, brother. This ain't me. You're talking to the wrong guy. I'm not buying this. So could it work? Yeah. I mean, look, see these patterns? That's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't matter. Patterns are everything, right? So, and the more of these patterns that you learn, the better you are, right? I mean, like here you are, right? And you can see as you're walking down, you need at least 3 bars. Here's your reversal bar. We could say that this is actually a morning star. Technically, it's not, because this should be green, but that's okay. But you're still the same pattern. So whether you're going to call this a bullish homing pigeon, because now it goes up to the top of this level right here, you can see that pattern. What developed down here? Let's talk about it. Okay, Timo, you see this pattern right there? So this is a what? Bullish engulfing. Okay, what does that mean? Right, one bar is engulfed the other bar. That does signify a bottom sometimes. So if you truly want to be in this, just use this low. If I broke 155, I'd be out. Okay, I'd be gone. Uh, so that would be it. That's how I would trade it, buddy. Yeah, 0 days off. There are no days off. Agreed. So if you want this, there are no days off. There's no I'm going to come in early or come in late on Mondays because Mondays are bad. That mentality, you'll get crushed by guys like me every day, all day long. I can't stress that enough. You're 100% right. I have that saying where you're playing against the smartest, most disciplined people in the world. And people say, well, how do you know that? I know it. And this is where all the money is. So what do you think they're doing? When you can be a doctor and you go here and you work for a hedge fund company and you make 8 figures versus being a doctor, you get talent. Can you look at PayPal, PFE, looking and go long on both? Yep, I can, Zane. So I'm going to just tell you this now. PayPal's on my list, and I've been watching this. And you're going through stages, right? And we're going to just talk about this for a while because there are 4 stages to a chart, right? You have, we're going to just call this a base for here for the sake of purpose, okay? So here's your base. Okay, so stage 1, this is your base. Stage 2 is your breakout. Then you consolidate here, and you can see that consolidation here, right? So you have another stage 1 or possibly a stage 3. Becomes a stage 1, breaks out, stage 2. Okay, now you have this wonky W, right? Stage 3. Okay, we break the neckline. You can see the neckline right here. I'll draw it in so you can see it. Okay, stage 4. Breaks the neckline, tries to rally over the neckline, can't, womp, womp, right? Okay, so this is when they were going to buy a company and everyone's like, what the heck are you doing? And then we couldn't figure out why it wasn't bouncing after they said, never mind, we're not going to buy that company. And by then it was too late. People realized that the company had other issues that they were trying to mask through a merger. So now what are we at? Now we're in stage 1. So this can go on for some time. I'm not saying that you should be buying this with the idea that you're heading back to here anytime soon, but I do find this very interesting. So on this trade, okay, forget this wedge line for a moment. Just throw that up there. And look at this. We have an 821 cross, okay? And I'm starting to point up, and I'm holding. And I could get to the 50, which is 205. I think there might be 10 points here, right? And I think you might see some tax buying next week in the name. I really do. I believe that. So definitely something for me to look at and to think about. I really like the idea. So and we'll kind of go from there. So. And let's just keep on going. So, yeah, I can do a recap, but what recap on what, Jen? Just tell me specifically what you want to do a recap on. I expect that we're going to have a lot of time today. I don't expect this room to be as crowded as it normally is. On days like today, you can already see it on social media. It's like dead. So everybody's getting ready to go out. I guess. I don't know. Good morning. But tell me what you want to do a recap on. I'm more than happy to do it. What's going on, Amir? Thanks for joining us. Happy New Year, Isaiah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to crushing it. 2022, just like this year. Hopefully everybody had a good year. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it, Frank. Means a lot, actually. CHRW. I can't tell you how much fun I'm having doing this with people. So again, I've said this earlier today, you're going to want to subscribe. I'm going to run a live portfolio and update it weekly on long-term positions for all of 2022. And I'm going to not be in cash at any time during that one portfolio that I'm managing, just so you can see what it's like to build long-term positions. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and you have all notifications on. I found out even if you're subscribed to the channel and you don't have notifications on, they might not notify you, which is kind of wonky. They kind of should do that. I'm surprised they don't. Anyway, let's get back to work. So here you are, right? This level's something, isn't it? So you see how you stop? Let's drill into this. See how you stop right here, Frank? And then you get above it, and then you're like, okay, we're good. And then what happens when you break it? Massive pain. Look at the level you traded to right here. Massive pain. Got above it, right? Again. So now you're above all this. Okay, so let's just start here. Okay, your major support now is 104.39. Period. It's not even debatable. Okay. Minor support is going to be up here at 106.75. So, and you can actually see how we tested that and held it. So right now you have a breakout. Now the question is whether or not this breakout lasts. I would just point this out to you because I think it's pertinent. And this is a short-term signal, not a long-term signal. You need to break this. Okay. So I personally would not go near this until I break over this. And then if I was not up in this, I would be out by if I was not up in this, I would be out by the end of that day. In other words, if I break this line, like let's say I break 108 and I'm like 108 and a quarter, that's what I'll use. Okay. If I close below this line that day and I can't close above it, I'm gone. I'm out. So I would use that tight of a stop because you don't want to reject here, because when you reject these trend lines, you have a chance to revert to the mean. The mean of this particular stock, okay, the mean is usually the 20-day moving average. So by a mean, what you do is you just throw in Bollinger Bands created by John Bollinger. And what you can see is that range, right? So the 2021 simple moving average, they're ticks off. So you can see that level. So when you see something like that, you just need to pay attention to it. So that's how I would play that, Frank, if that's helpful. So you're welcome, Timo. Good luck to you with that. It could work. CMRX. Yeah, not my kind of name. I mean, and you see, I have this really thick white line down here. And the reason for that white line is very simple. So that you can see if you're above it or over it. And it's a 20-day simple moving average, right? I'd recommend that you use a simple moving average for volume. I don't know why you would want to front load using an EMA. I don't know why you'd want to front load your average daily volume. Seems kind of silly to me, but to each their own. I see the break. Like I'm sure you saw this, right? So like, let's talk about this because maybe this is what you're saying, right? So you're seeing this kind of like we're breaking that. Now, this was the level. This is your first higher high. So when you break a wedge line, for confirmation of that wedge line, you need to break the higher high, right? So there's your higher high there. And now we're over here. And not so much, is it? So kind of rejected, didn't it? So if I see a rejection like that, then what I want to do, and look, it even extends over here, right? And isn't that convenient? Look at this. Okay. So, right. I mean, you can't make this up. See how support flips to what? Resistance, right? Okay. So let's just talk about what this point is for a second. I want people to understand this concept. When you see a low like this, okay, that is where somebody has, and you know, we know wicks are price rejection. When you see a low like that, that is just somebody saying, give me all the stock you have and I will take all sellers. That's how you need to think about it. Just like this is, I'm just going to keep selling. I don't care how much buying there is. That's exactly what these points are telling you. So it's important to understand why they're so important, those price rejections. I would not touch this till I close over 7.25. If you don't want to wait for a close, you need to get over 750. That's how I would play that, Jack. So I try to stay away from the fundamental stuff, even though I used to do fundamental research. But let's get into it a little bit. He's not the only one that's predicting it. So there's some very smart people out there that are extremely worried about deflation, not inflation. And they're very smart. I think Cathie Wood is one of the smartest people out there. I'm fascinated by what's going on, Terry. I'm fascinated by the amount of vitriol and hate this woman gets. And I don't understand it. You know, she actually called Tesla and got laughed at on CNBC, and she was right. She called Bitcoin. She was right. So I don't understand why someone's calling these disruptive technologies and we're not paying attention to them. Cathie Wood called for, hey, we're heading into deflation. We're not heading into inflation. Hey, Cathie Wood came out weeks ago. Hey, we may have a recession. Recessions are not, they're just from, let's just talk about this. Could we have a recession? It's very possible. People have had enough. in the U.S. They have had an absolute enough with what's going on. They've done what they were told to do. They did what's best for us as a community. If they felt the need to get vaccinated or unvaccinated, people are sick of being told what to do. When you get environments like that, people hoard cash. You start hoarding cash in a consumer economy, okay, the economy can retract. Also, if you cut off the stimulus that's been driving the market, which is actually inflationary, the inflation has been driving the market, right? They're dumping more dollars. That dries up. Yeah, you could have a recession. Now, for me, I would love that because I'll get out of the way. Pricing will deflate. You'll be able to buy assets cheaper. And then when they reinflate, you'll be able to sell into them. So some of the best years I've ever had, I had great years in like 99, 2000. I had better years in 94, 95 because you could build these enormous positions and just trade around them, right? Stability is what you're looking for. So if you have a recession, so what? From an economy standpoint, and for people's standpoint, it's an issue. From a stock market, which is what we're talking about here, I'm not talking about how people are going to be hurt and lose jobs. I'm talking about when you have something like this, it's really important. And I think that it's a possibility. I don't think it'll be anything massive. I think it'll be slight, but it'll be enough that people are going to change the way that they're thinking. ENPH 10. Yeah, you got it, buddy. What's going on, Param? So this is not something that I would look at. I understand that you're probably looking at this 8-day crossing, or maybe you're thinking that this might be a tax sale play. Let's just put in that anchored VWAP, right? So maybe you're thinking that, hey, we're holding the anchored VWAP because the average person's actually up in the stock. I have too much negativity going on here for me to look at this. And I'll show you what I mean. You see the width in between this 50 and 21? See how wide this is? These moves are usually extremely powerful to the downside. This is almost like a roller coaster, right? So let's just clean this up and make this and I'll show you what I mean by that. I'll just make this a line chart. I'll just make it look cleaner for a moment, okay? So you see how you're up here at the 821, right? That always crosses what? That always crosses first, right? That's always going to cross before this. So this is your short-term sell signal here because your long-term sell signal. And then next is when it crosses what? The 200-day, which just means the bulls have thrown in the towel and we're not there yet. So what do you do with this? You're trying to hold in the support level. And I guarantee you, if we throw in volume by price, you're going to see some support in this level. That's what I think. Anyway, we're going to see in a moment. It's going to load it in. Won't let me do it because I'm on a line chart. So let's do a candlestick again. And now let's throw this in. So you can see your support lines all in here where all your volume is, right? Okay, here's your VWAP. Here's all your support lines, and you're just sitting in there. So could you bounce? Yeah. I don't think you're bouncing past 201 anytime soon. That would be my target, that you would get to this resistance point, which just hits here. But with the 21 pointing down like that and this 8 pointing down, or I'm sorry, and the 50 pointing down, this is not something I'd be rushing into, my friend. So let's look at TAN and see if that looks any better. So, and to me now, it just doesn't. It's just, I would avoid this. I mean, are you seeing something where we're washed out? Maybe I should take another step back and throw in RSI and see if I see something. And even there, I really don't. On this drop, you're hitting, let's get rid of the volume by price to clean this up. And let's get rid of these for a moment, just so we can focus on the one factor that we're discussing. So I really don't see any kind of divergence here, right? I mean, for the whole sector, that's pointing down and this is pointing down. Now you bounced off the 30 and you're up, but you're still below the 50 line. So I don't see it. I don't see it, my friend. I would wait. I don't know that NIO didn't break. I don't know that that happened yet, Indy, because the market's not open. So I know that pre-market, we were down as low as 31.32. So I don't know what we're going to do today, and I don't know what's going to happen off the open. I would tell you that I would not speculate. If you want, I could walk you through what I would do if I was concerned about it. If you're concerned about it, close it first thing, first trade, right off the open. Don't even think about it. Don't wait for me to give even the option alert in the room. as to what to do with the trade. Just get out, right? If you're concerned, just get out of the way. It's not a problem. You know, you're going to, if you opened right here, you're going to open, let's take a look at it. If you open right here, you're going to open $1 in the money. Okay. So the option is going to be worth exactly what we paid for it. So, you know, what I'm suggesting is that you could still open at 31.5, 31 and make, you know, a double. That possibility still exists. I don't know how we open in a half hour. So I would try to hammer home just a thought about that. Don't assume what's going to happen. But this would have been a great one for me to explain, you know, that if you were that concerned about it, you actually could have done this, right? When you got down here and you wanted to lock it in, you actually could have just gone long stock and gone long stock against your option position up here and just locked in a, you know, like a double actually. I'm just going to let it ride and see what happens today. I mean, I already have this RSI pointing down, right? Because you already see how the RSI is rolling. I'm not really that concerned about it. So morning, Bob. I hope that's helpful, Indy. If not, and you want more data, just let me know. Oh, we're getting up there. We're almost back to 100 people in the room. I'm surprised today. Same tax sale pattern on BMY. Let's take a look at that. So I'm not really sure why this one's not getting the love that some of the others are. Maybe because they're not associated and they've decided to stay away from the VAX stuff. I mean, they don't really seem to be participating in any of it. And I think that's by design. I mean, you know, Merck even stayed out of it, which is it's very interesting. You know, I'm always curious how that stuff plays out in 5 years. You know, will they be seen as that smart or dumb? But look at this. I mean, you're right. Look, I like this cross a lot. You're right at that 200-day. If you flip the 200-day here, you will see people step in and buy BMY. It's just a fact. That'll happen. You have institutional investors that will not buy that stock because it's not above the 200-day moving average. So if you want to be in there, get over this. We're going to call it a gravestone, even though it's not. Get over that doji, and then you could look at it. So that would be something to look at there, Terry, for sure. ASF. So NIO. Yeah, let's talk about this again. So there's a couple different ways to play this. I'm currently short this and have puts. Just let me just get that out there. So I think that if you break this higher high, you're going to go. Right. I mean, that's how you have to understand. If you break out and go to 33.05, you're going to see panic in the street. There's no question about it. So, you know, it's something to consider. If you're looking long, I'm short. I'm fine with it. If I take out that high, I'll close it. It is what it is. If I'm worried about the option money that I have in there, because I have a decent option position on today, actually, because I thought it might, you know, gap down a little bit, and I was doing something early, so I didn't really cover any of it yet. So I would just watch it. I'm not so convinced that we just don't go to like 31 today. I'm not so convinced that doesn't happen yet, but we'll have to see. And if for all these Chinese names, Chinese headquartered names, be specific, they could absolutely keep rallying, especially as for tax sales into the next year. They could. I'm just not really interested in playing the long side. That doesn't mean that you can't do it. You know, I just don't want to be caught into the next Luckin Coffee, right? Where they just find out that the numbers are all wrong. And we can see the power that they yield, right? I mean, they came out and said, you know, stop selling your stock. And they came out and stopped selling their stock. So cost. So let's go through cost. Yeah, I'm just having trouble with that level. I'm really having trouble with this level, man. I don't know if it's because the volume or not. Let's just talk about it. I don't know if it's this. Like I pointed this out yesterday in the room, and I'm just going to let everybody know this. You know, you're trading at half the volume same time last year, and you're at about 40% off of where you were a week ago, right? Or 40 to 60%, depending on the index. It's like they have just gone away. They've just thrown in the towel. So just keep that in mind. I would wait for the new year. You may see tax selling in this because people have enormous gains in this. and they don't want to lock it in this year because then they're responsible for the taxes this year. They're going to lock it in next year. That's what I think happens. So DPZ, I like. I have a very large position in this. It's either going to work or it's not going to work. So I'm not crazy about this having this little, what I will refer to as a bearish engulfing here at all and closing at the low of the day. No, that doesn't really work for me. But it's not something where I'm overly concerned about it. I've been waiting for this level to break since back here, since July, and now I'm finally over. So I'm going to stay with it and just see how it goes. And I'm going to honor the process that I have in place. I don't really see a reason to do anything. Could it drop? Sure. If you really are that concerned about it, just make sure that if it closes below the 8-day, get out. Right? I mean, you can see like, we're still above the 5-day. So I don't see the need for the panic. I wish it closed up 10 points what it was yesterday? Yeah, it was up 10 points during the day, right? From where it is right now. Yeah, I really wish it did. I wish it did that. It didn't. So it is what it is. But I like it a lot. I mean, look at this. Like, let me just show you the monthly. Like, are you kidding? Right? Did you see the trajectory of these? How they're heading higher? Like, you know what? This is telling you we're going to rip, right? It's telling you, look at this. Look at the RSI. Like, this is telling you we're going to rip. Like, that's a monthly chart. Are you joking? Like, this is getting ready to really go up. I mean, you just broke through this pattern, right? And now here you are, right? Like, this is what you're looking for. Here's your morning star. You flip the morning star. You break out over a high after a morning star position. This is telling you you're going higher. Now, whether or not that happens remains to be seen. But that's how I'm playing it. AMD, NVIDIA. Yeah, if you want to do that, Utu, can you? Yes, sure, of course. Let's walk through how I would do it. Okay, I would realize that off the open, they're just going to bid stuff up. We took a loss in this in the trading room. We lost $1, after being up here and then having this little flip. And then once we had that flip, that was it. But I'm trying to stay in there because I think that we're just going to, my thought is that we're going to hold this level and then come back up and break. That's my thought. That's why I haven't done anything with the option position. But the stock is the stock and it is what it is. And I'm not crazy about that, but I like it. Would you buy options off the open? No. I mean, look, I would probably buy puts off the open if I was going to play that. I would do I would make it opposite day. Whatever the market's doing, I would do the opposite, right? So you see Tesla bidding up, I'd sell Tesla if I was looking short term, that kind of stuff. It's that kind of day. So yeah, this has a real decision to make, and I'm not crazy about this at all. And I have a position in this, as everybody's well aware. I actually added to it yesterday when we got back over the 21-day moving average, going, okay, things are being restored. We're going to hold. And then we close at the low of the day. Now we're wedged under the 50. If you close below this 50, all bets are off, right? So, that's not going to be great to close below the 50-day again. And what this is starting to shape up to, and it is a concern, and I am watching it, but we're starting to shape up into this. That's not really where we want to be, right? I mean, you can drop this down and say, yeah, we're here, but, this one close above it, we test it, and then we break back down. Now, I'm attributing it to extremely light volume, but price is price. I didn't go over it in that context, so let's do that. Let's go over Tesla in that context. So for me, I don't think there's much more to talk about here, right? Except this wedge line, okay? I don't think there's anything else that's really anyone's looking at. I mean, we talked about this trade in the top 10 for the week, right? That we were going to get to this line and then we had to watch it. We got to this line and we watched it, and this is what it's doing. It doesn't mean it's over. It just means it rejected the line, right? You don't know it's over until you start breaking levels. What I really like about this trade is you're either going to respect this 50-day or you're going to close below it. And if you close below it, probably time to get out of the trade until it sets up again. Okay. You can trade around it, sure, but it's probably time to get out of the way. Okay. Is how I look at it until it solves itself. So I like where it is right now because it's a pretty clean trade. This is getting tighter and tighter against this line. Very different than this, right? Every time we did this last time, what happened? We rejected and came down hard. Rejected, came down hard. We're rejecting. We're like, we're going to come down about 20 points. Okay, let's just put that in perspective so you can understand what I'm saying. So last time this rejected, okay, we went down 10%. Last time we rejected here, okay, we went down 14%. This time on the rejection, let's take the highest point, we're down 6%. Okay, that's telling you, and I'm being very generous with 6%. It's actually less. You're actually, see if it'll let me do it. Seems a little stuck. We're just going to say, we'll just leave it at the 6. But you can see it's less than that. So you're actually down about 5% if you really look at this level right here, right? So the fact that this is getting tighter over these last 2 tests, you need to pay attention to stuff like that, right? Hopefully you followed that. So I like it. I think you're setting up. I put it in the top 5. Now, whether this happens today or doesn't happen today, I don't know. But here's your wedge on a flag that's above your 50-day, and you have that flag above this. Like, and if this doesn't go in this market, because we don't have new leaders, this is our leader. So if this doesn't go in this market, we have a problem. So that's how I look at it. Hey, Patel. So I like Roku. I've been trying to get in. It's actually on my tax sale list. I like how you're respecting this 21-day moving average. This is a really simple trade. If you are a long-term investor in this, you simply buy this with a close below the 21-day being your stop. And let's just talk about this in greater detail. I think that this, out of all the tax sale names that are not above the 50-day, is most interesting. Look how you keep testing that 237.18 level, right? Look what happened when you came out with that awful news. You flushed everybody out. Look at the volume there. And I was trying to point this out the other day because one of the biggest tools, people always ask me what indicator to use. Okay. Until you understand price, volume, and patterns, nothing else matters. So, I mean, you have not had volume like this for over a year. Okay. That's capitulation volume. That's exhausted. That's somebody saying, I have had enough. I want out of this name. I don't want to hear the name Roku anymore. I'm done with it. And that's exactly what you want. Right? Because that's how bottoms start. So you have a lot of work to do, but you're setting up there to at least bounce up and try to get back to that 256 level. So there could be 20 points there. If you were a long-term investor, that's exactly where you step up. Yeah, I know people are excited because Nancy's buying and you got the wind at your back. I mean, maybe she's going to vote on something where we all have to be on Roblox. I don't know. I don't know why everyone got so excited by it, but it's kind of funny to watch. People don't think that's a problem. I don't know what to say. It's not a political statement, but I mean, I don't know, maybe our people shouldn't be allowed to buy stocks on things that they're voting on. I don't know. Just a crazy idea. I mean, CEOs can't. Anyway. What do we do now? Well, you tried to bid up on this news, right? And what did you do? You kind of just ran right into that line. So I know I got a lot of hype yesterday with her stepping up. I don't know why she's doing it. We'll find out in 2 months. I do think that it's interesting how you're holding this 93 level. But is it something that I would jump into right now? I have too many things against it to really get me in this, Isaac. Like, one, I'm below this resistance line. So let's just talk about this. I'm below this major resistance. And this is major resistance, not minor resistance. And I was asked to go over the differentiations. I'm going to do it in the video. And here you have minor support. Okay. Major resistance, and we're holding minor support. What other issues do I have? A declining volume, not just this week, but people have just been like, yeah, that's enough. We've had enough. Also, what's going on? Sector rotation. People are not glued to their computers anymore. They're going outside. Go listen to, someone posted it in the trading room and I listened to it. The CEO of Vici talking about demand on the Vegas Strip and how many people are coming there. People want real life experiences. They're getting off the computer. It's why social media stocks at the end of 2021 had bad earnings. See how you're flipping this? You're below the 21. I can't even break the 8. Do I really want to get involved with this? I just gave you 4 reasons not to. So that's kind of where my head is. Thanks, Patel. Appreciate it. I love doing it. AU and a little one. Here we go with the little ones. I know. Small fish become big fish. It is true. So this is a gold stock. Gold is going to trade as the commodity. The miners trade as a beast to themselves. It's not a sector I really play with. These are trades to me that you need to buy when you are below and nobody wants them. You buy these when nobody's around. This is not something that I would be buying here. I mean, systemically, you've just had selling since August, just straight down. It's not something I'd go near. And if I was going to be interested in this, I would just be looking at this and saying, okay, does this match what's going on in gold? And the answer is, yeah, it matches it pretty closely. So why wouldn't I just trade gold? That would be my answer to that. If I wanted to be in it, Shane, that's how I would look at it. Let's look at the little guy, RETO. Yeah, I mean, sadly, I'm going to say this. This looks really good. This looks really good. You have absolutely no volume, but this is the type of stock that can move today, right? No volume, no one's around. All of a sudden, this thing goes to $3 for some reason. This could work today. I mean, I hate to admit it, but it could work. Just, your stop's got to be whatever this low is. What is this low? Let's just call it. Stop's got to be $1.30. You're willing to risk 30 cents a share. Give it a shot. Could it do this? Absolutely. This is the kind of day wonky stuff happens. So light volume. Yeah, I think Sophie could work next week. So, I'm still working on the tax sale group. But I think Sophie could work next week for sure. This 821 crossing over this 50, and look at this volume. Yeah, it's on the list. So that could bounce here. But you have a lot of issues. It's why it didn't why I'm not crazy about it. Like I got to, do I want to buy it for $1.50? Do I want to buy it for $2? Maybe. I mean, realistically, this is where you buy it. And then if you take out that low, you just blow it out. Just get out of the way. You lose a grand and you move on, right? And maybe you're fortunate enough to catch something like this over months. And that very well could be the case. Let's look at this. Okay. So let's talk about this, Oven, because you're on to something here. And let me just point it out. Okay. So we talked about these kinds of trades before, right? Are we in a trendless market or a trend market? Right? We're trendless. We're just wonking around, right? We're just bonking all over the place, right? Bonk, bonk, bonk. Oh, we're really going to go this time. No, we're not. This is it. No, it's not. This is it. This is the time. No, it's not. See where I'm going with this? Sell. I got to get out. I got to get out now, right? So what do we have? We have a trading range, right? So what you look at is you look at that trading range and then go, okay, well, this is a rough trading range. What do I do? Well, if I have little breakouts like this, maybe you pay attention to it. Maybe you develop the position with the premise that I'm going to have to wait a certain amount of time. Each time from this line, if I just point this out to you, okay, this to here took 3 weeks. From here to here, it took how long? 3 weeks, 6 days. How long did it take this time? 2 months. Okay. So what you would do is you could look at this and say, okay, one of two things are going to happen. We're either going to go up probably the average of these moves to get up to that level, or it's taking longer and longer to get there. So you may be in this for a couple months, but it could grind its way back to that level. That is very possible. And you'd still be in a trading range and you just would sell when it got up there. That's all. So hopefully that's helpful. Hey, SK. So to start, I have a position in that. I like it. I mean, am I crazy about the action yesterday? No, it's not really what I wanted to see, but it is what it is. But I'm not really crazy. I'm not, upset by it. It's fine. I don't really like long-legged dojis, but you made my decision for me. I mean, if you break the long-legged doji, it trades over, right? And it just mean that this red bar is in charge because we tried to get above it and we failed, right? You always have to look for control bars. People don't talk about control bars a lot, but there are control bars. They are bars that were significant, right? So you can see that going across here. I mean, you can see this pretty clearly. I'm going to drill this in. I'm going to stay a little later today. I already know I'm over. But you can see what I'm talking about here, right? So I know I have this long-legged doji. Let it make a decision. I'm long. I bought yesterday. I'm down on one portion of it, and I'm up on the other portion. So I'm just legging into it. I'm trying to see if I can get up at least 10% before earnings, which are coming out on the 6th. I'm not sure it happens. That's my goal. I like it. I think it's an interesting trade. So let's go through all these because they're all interesting. So let's just talk about Spot. Okay. Spot has the single largest paid subscriber base in the world. So just let that sink in. All you're doing is basing. That's all you're doing here. So again, you buy these when they're ugly. Why do I buy these when they're ugly? Because I'm trendless. This is not in a trend, right? This is a trend. This is a base. So this just takes time. And do I close below 220? No. I mean, depends. If you're looking for a quick trade, this isn't it. Find something else. Okay. If you're willing to get in here and wait 3-4 months or 2 months to get up to this level and make 20-25%, or you're looking long term, this is where you buy it. That's how you need to look at it. In regards to puts, yeah, I think that if I was going to buy puts on Amazon, which I don't know that we're actually going to break this 31 level. So that would be the first thing. I don't know that you break this level, right? It's kind of a hard trade because you're in no man's land right now. This is your low. This is your high. These are your trading ranges. I don't even need moving averages. Okay. They're irrelevant and trendless. People are going to say we're up over it. We're down over it. What if you did that, you'd be schizophrenic. So what we want to do is just try to understand that you need to go to here. Now, what I would want to do is I'd want to have a position so that if it was down, I might be able to stay in that into February earnings. So I would probably go out one more month. I'd probably go out to February. LCID never broke and then started getting some extra buzz from that, right? So I still like the idea as a short, but you have to remember something. Failed H patterns are vicious. So if this turns, it's going to be vicious, and I'm not breaking. Okay. I don't know that I'm going to get above that 21 day. This 21 day to me means I'm going to push down. Would I short that here? No, I would not short that here. Okay. I failed again to break here. I failed again, right? That wicks are what? Price rejection. So I'm behind. All right. Well, I think that that's really interesting. Imran, and we talked about this a little bit, right? And I'm going to go through this again really quickly, and I'm going to have to jump here in a couple minutes. But we talked about this, right? Let's get rid of all these annotations for the moment, and let's get rid of all other data, and let's get rid of all this. Because, again, you could see that those moving averages are just going to drive you crazy. So I was trying to point this out the other day, and we might be seeing this, and that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. You see this range, and then you broke out, right? So there's nothing to do there. You're in the middle. So let's talk about what this is. See something similar kind of developing here on the Qs? Right, so here's this range, right? So here's my range. Am I going to be range bound? Am I going to bounce around these ranges, right, before I go higher? Because eventually we always go higher, right? I mean, you could crash, but eventually you'll go higher. But, it took 8 years for the S&P to bounce back from 2000. It took 16 for the NASDAQ. Here's your range, right? Is that what I'm learning? Like, is that am I learning that I'm getting range bound, right? Is this going to break? Now, the chances of this one breaking versus the Qs are slimmer because of the diversification in this. But to answer your question, you're in no man's land here. So it's something to think about. Okay, so sorry about that. I hit mute. Okay, so here we are with ARK. I'm just waiting for that 100 level, Paul. This could totally work. It's definitely on my tax sale list. Absolutely could work. I think that her names are going to run in the beginning of the year. So I like it a lot, especially if you're legging in to it. If you're looking long-term, I like it a lot. If you're looking long-term to start legging into it, I would not bet against that lady. I think anyone that does is crazy. So, but you need to have a long-term outlook with it. You know, I mean, you can mark my words, timestamp this. People that buy this, right, they're up 20% next year. There's very minimum, they're up 20% last year, even if we do have a recession. So she'll outperform everybody. So you could actually buy that and then go short, you know, the SPY, and if we had a recession, and you'd crush it. I like this a lot. I think that it's here. I think it's time. And this is one of the things I pointed out, where you're going, where the lines are, and what we could get to. So I like it. I like it a lot. And I think it's time. I think it's finally shaping up. We're finally back above the 50. I think volume will come in next week. You might even see this at the end of the day today, Paul. See some more action in it. You're welcome, buddy. Yeah, that's awful. That happens. Okay, so I'm going to just tell you that always have a backup if you can. So your backup should be your phone. Always have a backup, because it's going to happen. If it happens to you once, it's going to happen again. So what do I think happens? I don't know which ones you own, Dan. I'm long calls here. I have no interest in selling them. I think that this could break out and go. If you're up in the calls off the open, sell them. Get out, because this could just trade around and sell straight down and be a very quiet day. But yeah, the calls expire today. Yep, of course they do. Then if you're not willing to take the loss, you have to sell in the strength, and you have to sell in the strength off the open, right? You need to sell in the first 15 minutes at the latest, because the issue that you're going to run into is time value is going to decay like no other today, right? It's going to be a bad day for time value. You're better off selling options today than buying, frankly. Yeah, Happy New Year. So hopefully that's helpful. But yeah, sell in the first 15 minutes. You're up 50 basis points. Take what you can get and move on, especially if they expire today, and especially if you're out of the money. I think it's, I would not short this until it gives you a signal, Janice. I think you're 2-3 days away from a signal. But I'd be careful, because they can always go higher. And they might go higher in the beginning of January. So I'm going to have to jump here. I'm way behind. I kind of agree with that. I like both those names long term, and I think they can move next year. I would not be buying calls on Amazon. I would not be buying calls on Global Payments. I would be buying. I love that costume for the dog. I'd be buying. You could be buying calls on XLA. I'm going to have to jump here. So let me just see this, if I can go through this and just see if I missed anything that's I've really got to hit. I'm just behind. So I got to jump. All right. You're welcome. Happy New Year, everybody. And we'll go from there. I think you're right about that. It might be. Ramon, I would avoid that name. Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate that. Everybody, Happy New Year. And I will talk to you on Monday morning. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, click notifications, and like, because I'm going to start running a long-term portfolio, 2 of them. One in stocks and one in crypto that we're going to all learn along the way. So that's it. Have a great day, everyone.